Hey, fantasy basketball owners, I'm Michael Pichan, Tom Lorenzo, RotoExperts.com. We're back with you to talk about Pick 8. And Pick 8 is actually an interesting pick based on current ADP rankings. We're seeing Stephen Curry as the number 8 rated player. And as good and as fun to watch as he is, I just feel that that's too high of a position for a second-year player of Stephen Curry's status. Tom, you disagree? If you have the 8th pick, you're going Stephen Curry?
He's definitely a guy I would consider. Obviously, a few guys we talked about ahead of us, if they fall that far, yes, Dwayne Wade's, Danny Granger's, or someone like that. But Stephen Curry, obviously, is the guy I would look at that position. Second half of last season, he was just unreal. His numbers were unbelievable. 22, 23 points a game. He had 7 assists. He had 2.5 threes, over 2 steals a game. I mean, the second half, he was among the top 5 players in the game in the second half of last season. I know there are a few factors and a few things changed this year. Obviously, Monta Ellis had some injuries last year in the second half. Keith Smart's now coaching Golden State, kind of more of a reserved, more of a system guy as opposed to Don Nelson, who's just kind of more of go out there and score, and if we win, we win kind of system. And obviously now you've got more of an inside presence with David Lee. So there's definitely some changes. But if Stephen Curry can get close to his numbers he did last year, especially in the second half of the season, he's going to be a great value guy, and he's going to be a guy who you can definitely build around.
Yeah, Stephen Curry definitely has a lot of upside. He's a fun guy to watch. I'm concerned about Golden State, though. There seems to be a lot of transition there. David Lee's coming in, Keith Smart. We talked about in our fantasy preview videos when we talked about like the center position and that, how they're going to do a little more pick and roll in Golden State, so maybe that'll help. But also, you mentioned that Monta Ellis is going to start the season healthy, and I think that's going to take away some of the stats from Stephen Curry as well.
Right.
Another guy, though, some people are targeting at the 8th spot, and we talked about that in our pick 7 spot video, is that Kobe Bryant tends to be somebody of an interest here, and that's another guy that I mentioned to stay away from. I did kind of talk a little bit about Danny Granger and said to stay away from him a little earlier, but if he falls to the 8th spot, that's a guy I'd much rather take than Stephen Curry, because he's going to fill the stat sheet, because he's going to be the go-to guy on that team, and as long as he's healthy, we've seen how great of a player he is, but the notoriety isn't there. Obviously, Curry is somebody that's more talked about with NBA fans and that, and Danny Granger gets kind of pushed under the rug because he plays for Indiana. But don't let that fool you. Danny Granger, if he's available there, that's the guy I'm going with, because I just think he's going to put up better numbers than Stephen Curry.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Granger, great talent. Curry, another great talent. A little more of a question mark as far as numbers. Granger, more of a question mark as far as health. So you've got those two factors in there. But I think, either way, 2 guys you look at, Granger, and I still think you look at Curry in the late first round.
Yeah, and whatever you do, in my opinion, stay away from Kobe Bryant at this spot.
Yeah.
He's a guy that...
Not a Kobe guy.
not at all. I mean, Kobe obviously is a great player. The Black Mamba has got killer instinct in that. But like I said before, I don't think his stats are going to translate as well fantasy-wise compared to Granger, or maybe even Stephen Curry if you decide to go that direction. Well, I'm Michael Pichan. This is Tom Lorenzo, RotoExperts.com.